There comes a time in every YouTuber's career where they make a video where it sounds like they're either cyber begging for money or flexing on how much money they make. Today, I'm gonna try to get a fine line in between those just to provide some transparency on just how much money you make for a video that gets multiple millions of views. Okay, so we've got a couple case studies here that I think are really interesting. I've had a few videos, luckily, go over 1 million views. My very first video I ever posted actually has over 2 million views. And I think this would be a good one to maybe compare and contrast with a video I did within the last year that is over, or just about 1 million views, just to kind of see how much YouTube has changed and just talk about, you know, being a professional content creator and making money on the platform. So the very first video I ever made was called Building Chords, Easy Music Theory. Had no intention of becoming a professional YouTuber at this point. I was teaching a lot of guitar lessons, and this is a very important music theory lesson, I think, just about how to make notes in a scale become chords. I was teaching myself a graphical editing program that I used this, and this was made 100% with the sole intention of just being able to have something on YouTube that YouTube would host for me for free, just as a regular person in the world, just a regular noob out there, a normie, and then be able to send a link to my students because I got sick of writing the whole thing out all over the time. So I made this graphical thing and I posted this, and you know, it kind of eventually launched my entire career with what it is that I do now. So if we look at the analytics for this, first thing you see, it's made about $6,000. Now, this video is about a decade old, which is so old. And for the first 3 years of it, there were no views because, you know, I've only been really doing YouTube for maybe 6 or 7 years, which is still like an eternity in YouTube terms. But this video is up for several years before I even thought that I could do YouTube as a career. Basically, long story short, you know, I made this video, just put it up. Luckily, the thumbnail that it has was randomly selected, which is just shows you how chance can affect your entire career, because it ended up being like a fantastic thumbnail for what it was. The YouTube gods just chose this random frame, and the frame actually kind of shows better than I ever could if I were making my own thumbnail. I mean, again, this is an actual still from the video that it chose, but it took the perfect one. But anyways, yeah, this just went online, toiled. Is getting maybe like 5 views a day, 10 views a day. You know, as you can see, nobody was really watching it for the first several years. It wasn't until later that, you know, I did some other things and some other stuff blew up that people came back and found this video. So let's look at it real quick. So 2 million views, 95,000 watch time hours. This video alone generated 21,000 subscribers and, you know, made $6,000 of revenue, which YouTube paid me, right? It's still, as you can see in the real time here, it's still getting over 300 views a day, which is awesome. Talk about staying power for something like this. But the important thing to note is the actual length of this video. It's under 6 minutes long, which is kind of funny seeing a video like this in today's YouTube realm, because there's no way I would make this video today because it would not be successful. Guarantee you would not be successful for something like what I do, which, you know, if you want to just behind the scenes. So I've got, you know, just shy of 500,000 subscribers, but that does not mean in any sense, in any world that exists, that I would pull that many videos per view. In fact, I might post something that only gets like 2,000. YouTube is just such a different landscape now than it was. But what I really want to do is I want to talk about this video, how much it made compared to this video. Okay, this is a video I posted about a year ago, why beginners always struggle with guitar solos. So a very similar thing, and I think this is just kind of how YouTube has changed. Real quick, just shy of 1 million views. The watch time hours are actually much more. Remember in the first video we looked at, well, actually 95,000 total, 83,000 total, but compared to a video with less than half the views. Also, less than half of the subscribers were generated by this video, under 10,000, but 5,500, the money is about the same, okay? And now the reason that is because look at the watch time of this video, look at the length of the video. It's like, it's over 15 minutes, so it's over 3 times as long. And this is what, you know, modern YouTube, and again, this is always changing. If don't even get started on shorts, it's like a whole other thing of anxiety for YouTubers. But You know, I think it was in 2020, YouTube introduced the mid-roll ad, right? So any video, at first I believe it was actually any video over 10 minutes was eligible for mid-roll ad. Now I believe it's 8 minutes. It might even be shorter than that now. But essentially for the longer videos, YouTube has more opportunities to place ads in the video. You can even choose your own ad break. Otherwise, YouTube can generate it for you. But it's super interesting because now I would never make that first video, which in some ways is a shame. And again, this is where the cyber begging comes in. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me, but it's a shame that I am not incentivized to make what I consider is a very well thought out video, this 2 million view video. I think it's concise. It gets a message across very clearly, very easily. It did not need to be longer than 5.5 minutes or whatever it is. In fact, I think that was like one of my real strengths and advantages in when I first started my YouTube career, is just coming from a background of teaching a lot and really knowing just kind of like how I can get a point across quickly, because some lessons are like 30 minutes, you know? So, you know, you teach whatever, 30 of those a week. Eventually you kind of can focus in on what people will pay attention to, how long you have their attention span. And I thought that was like the perfect amount of time to relay that idea in a certain amount of time. And again, now I wouldn't do it because it wouldn't be eligible for a mid-roll ad break. And it's not because I'm just like a greedy person. It's because YouTube is gonna promote more the stuff that is gonna make them more money. That's just kind of how it works. Now, there are definitely outliers because a lot of the YouTube algorithm is broken. And on your homepage, you might see like a 3-hour Chamber of Commerce meeting from a town in the Midwest you've never heard of. Don't know why that happens. Maybe you could ask Mr. Beast about that, but not really sure about that. So that's why it is such a dynamic space. And that's why it's, you know, again, $6,000 is a lot of money, you know, but for having like a career, being able to integrate brands is super important, which brings us to the sponsor of this video, DistroKid. DistroKid has been a brand that has been instrumental in me being able to do this professionally. They're awesome. This is a service that I have used to get music online. It is so cost effective. It is the least expensive thing that you could do that will actually provide the service. And it gives you awesome analytics. You can check your bank to see how much money you're earning from streaming. It just gets all the stuff, all the Spotify streams, Apple streams. You can actually even have it generate a YouTube video, a YouTube topic video, which it will collect the money from that. So it takes care of a lot of stuff. So it's really cool. If you're watching this video, you're probably interested in how YouTube works and how to monetize it. So you're probably interested in something like this, you know? DistroKid, again, been a great partner of mine for a long time, and you can save money and you can start making money with the affiliate link in the description. So thank you to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. Now, a little bit more about just kind of the analytics that you get, right? So let's look at the next tab over here, reach. Okay, so 22.9 million impressions. And you can see some of these analytics didn't really start tracking. We don't have data until a few years ago. 5.1% click-through rate. Basically, that means out of every time 100 impressions of this thumbnail is shown, 5 people click on it. So for my channel, that is, I would say, average. In fact, we can run that side by side with the other one. This is 4%, okay? A lot of different reasons for this. So it actually has less impressions, but and a lower click-through rate. And again, still gaining on 1 million views. Now, a lot, like I said, a lot has changed in the last few years. This has a secondary title on the thumbnail. I wish someone had shown me this. I feel like that stuff works better for me than just making the YouTube face, which never works for me. You know what? That might be the thumbnail for this video, but it just doesn't really ever seem to work on me in a viral sense. Secondary thumbnail kind of has like another, or secondary title, again, text on the thumbnail, usually kind of helps with this, but you can see how dynamic the click-through rate is on something like this. Even though it has averaged around 4% for the duration of its life, you know, it's as high as 8% some days as they're testing it out with new audiences and stuff like that. You might think that 4% is kind of dismal, but you want your click-through rate to eventually become much lower, because what that means is maybe you start out with a click-through rate. I've got videos that have 20% click-through rates. Like the video of me talking to Banana Blondie about the time I worked at Victoria's Secret. By the analytics, that video should have several million views. And just by the quality of the content, that video should have several million views, but it doesn't. So we got to get on that. I'll link you to that because that's a great video. But for whatever reason, YouTube just never found the audience for that. Once it finds the audience, it just kind of spreads it. It gets on the homepage, gets recommended. And as you reach more people, your click-through rate is going to go down because, you know, you're being put in front of people they've never seen before. They might not be interested in your content, which is fine. So again, a low click-through rate on a well-performing video is actually a good sign because that means YouTube is promoting it and kind of putting it out there on recommended and stuff like that. So, you know, all this stuff is like pretty interesting as far as like how videos are found. You can see this is the newer one. Browse features, 60% of the views have come from there. As compared to if we go to the other one, you can see YouTube search is actually the biggest one. So this is where having an old video that performed well has really kind of just solidified itself in search. There's something about this video that, you know, apparently it has gotten a decent amount of engagement where the Google search engine is just like, all right, this video is kind of it. And what I've actually noticed recently, Google seems to be retooling their search because first of all, why is it impossible to search for something within your own Gmail? You know what I mean? Like if I'm looking for my ticket to Amsterdam, which I'm in right now, how about this canal in the back? You think I could type in Amsterdam and it would just pull up all the emails with that word in it? No, just don't even get me started on Google search. But they're recalibrating it, which is why newer videos are actually hitting harder in search just kind of randomly. In fact, if you are a YouTuber and you see a bunch of views coming from external, usually what that means right now in October of 2023 means search is experimenting, putting it on some kind of like search kind of keyword thing or whatever. Hard to know where those external views come from, but right now it means YouTube search. So aside from search, suggested videos and browse features are significant ways that video is found. Right now it's pretty much all browse and suggested, a little bit of search. But this just goes to show how powerful the YouTube algorithm has become with what it decides to feed the viewer, right? Instead of just kind of like, oh, maybe people are organically finding this video that has 2 million views through search, is performing well there, it gets suggested, you know, you're browsing, you're doing cool stuff, it just keeps showing up. Now it's basically whatever it feeds you, you know, which again, not complaining, not being a cyber beggar. Just sign up for DistroKid and hit that link and your buddy Sean will be very, very happy. But I mean, you know, the one thing that's really great is just the robust analytics that you get from YouTube. So that's a game changer. That's the one thing that I will give Google props on, even though we don't have a session time analytic, which again, totally different thing. Let me know if you guys want me to make more videos about this because I could talk about this for literal days, uninterrupted. I am so intimately familiar with my analytics, as are a lot of creators, that, you know, it's trying to find the balance of keeping your mind, keeping your sanity, while still, you know, approaching this from a professional mindset and kind of like knowing what's going on and stuff like that. So again, we've got, you know, these are just external stuff like that. Another thing that is interesting that people might want to know is the bell notifications sent. Okay, I remember there's that whole era of YouTube where it's like, if you like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, click blah blah. People don't do that. I'm sorry. Look at that. 100% of the email notifications were sent, and there's a 1% notification click through, and the views from bell notifications 230 out of 1 million. That is such an insignificant statistic. Now, there's definitely something to building a community on YouTube, which is great. And that's why, like, all of you who have all 230 people who clicked on that, like, man, I love it. I love the people who have been with the channel for a while, stuck with it. I see you in the comments. I try to respond to comments as often as I can. And I love that. But from a professional standpoint, the ring the bell people don't generally move the needle in any significant way. What does seem to move the needle are engagements, specifically sharing the video. So if you do want to help a creator out, share their video. You know, it still helps to like and comment and stuff like that. But I believe that shares help more than that. Now, again, these are just kind of my instincts telling you this. We don't totally get robust engagement analytics as far as like what leads to more impressions, but just kind of reading between the lines with some of the literature that YouTube sends out and how they keep track of shares, even though they're not technically in our like database here. It's just kind of interesting to know. But yeah, the revenue thing is what people are mostly interested in. And that leads to like your CPM and how much money, you can make on YouTube, which is basically how much you get paid per like, 1,000 views or whatever. I would say that 5,000 to 6,000 views per million is consistent with my channel and my audience. Now, it might be totally different. If you're a makeup influencer and your entire audience is 8-year-old girls from the Philippines, then, that might not be a higher ticket CPM, but you might be like raking up views, which is awesome. But yeah, I would say that that's kind of consistent with me. And then as far as like a musician in the world today, that is actually significantly better than what Spotify would pay you for 1 million streams. I think for 1 million streams on Spotify, that's like $4,000 to $5,000. 1 million views on YouTube, it's definitely at least $1,000 more per million. And then depending on how long you can get that average view duration, if there are like, hitting the mid-roll ad, which is why, again, you have to have them over 8 minutes for sure. All of this stuff really kind of comes into play. But I just thought this was an interesting thing to kind of like go back and forth between YouTube back in the day and just to see how well this video performed long ago. So you can kind of see back then, see how, another interesting thing here is let's look at just the revenue spike here from the last year, which, it just kind of grows and tallies as compared to the other one. You can kind of see there are these huge like spikes. Like I was making $1 a day on this, which was awesome. I felt so good about myself when this video was pulling in like $1 a day. And then you have these outliers where it's like, oh, well, it made like $12 this one day. And a lot of that is because maybe somebody would click through to one of the ads and actually buy something. And back in the day, that used to be kind of like a bounty type situation. There's also situations in which, you just have a video pop off for a day if it gets shared on a bigger platform or stuff like that. But again, the single shares aren't as much of a driver of traffic as you may think. Again, I remember when I first started out, Ultimate Guitar would put me on their front page all the time, which was awesome. And I would always get a huge influx of views, but those views were never really paying views. In fact, like YouTube knows if you're using an ad blocker to watch your stuff and you won't get paid for those views, which again, side note, the ad blocker people, like you just shut up. Pay for your media. If you don't buy YouTube Premium, just watch the ads. I watch the ads and I'm a professional YouTuber. It's hard for me to sympathize with the ad blockers out there. I get it, everybody's time is valuable. If you want to be a computer hacker bro and block your ads, that's cool. Just know that you are harming the creator economy. There's no argument against that. You can't get slippery and be like, oh, I'm actually supporting my creators financially on their Patreon. Okay, sure, whatever. But you are harming the creator economy when you're using an ad blocker, just like when you're stealing plugins off of whatever and stealing music. And again, I'm not here to be the judgment moral police. Do what you want. I don't really care. But that is the reality of it. And there's no argument against it, that's also been like a hot topic now because YouTube is kind of like throttling the amount of views you could watch. Is all kind of a mess, but whatever. But here I am, not cyber begging, not flexing. Is it something to even flex about? I don't know. Is it a sustainable career? It is for some people. I think it's super cool. I think, here's the thing, like, again, $6,000 is a lot of money, but I take so much more joy in the fact that 2 million people saw this video that I did not intend to even monetize ever. And of those 2 million people, a great amount of people found that helpful. And to me, that's like the whole reason that this is even a job. And that's like so awesome to feel. And that's why I try not to get like caught up on how much money or how many views a piece of content gets. That's why I'm so grateful to my sponsors like DistroKid and other ones that you see on this channel for sure. And I'm so grateful to the audience who has stuck around, who, continues to seek out the content because they're not going to be notified of it otherwise. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for everybody who's been around. If you're new, definitely, hopefully I was able to answer some questions. Hit me with more questions in the comment section. I will get to them as best I can. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot.